So we are live. Welcome to How a Power Facebook Live. Today we are here with a guest who is a life transformational coach. She is a Reiki healer. You're certified in Reiki healing, correct? Mm-hmm. Those who don't know what Reiki healing is, it's when you channel energy through your hands. And that is so incredibly dynamic. Mm-hmm. She also is a mindfulness coach. And what we are going to be talking about here is self-sabotage. I am a self-awareness specialist. And we're also going to be touching on how you can become aware of your self-sabotaging habits in case you are not aware of it. So please help me. Welcome to the show, Melissa Carmen Acundiego.
Nice. Hi. Wow, that was a nice welcome.
Well, it's really nice to have you on and to talk about, what you do in your profession. And not only do you do it in your professional life, it's just a part of your passion. It was your calling. So why don't you explain a little bit of, how you got into it, and then we can get started on the 5 ways you can become aware of your self-sabotaging habits.
Sure. So, as Hawa mentioned, I am an inner transformation coach. I'm a Reiki master, a mindfulness and meditation teacher, and I mean, just like I would say most of us, right? I had my own path, my journey of healing, and I had a few experiences that were really challenging, and I actually went through a very deep depression, and it was through that I really learned how to love myself, how to really tune in and become aware, as you always talk about, of all those things that were holding me back. And self-sabotage is actually a topic that's really dear to me because, I will admit that for a long time I fell into those patterns and I sabotaged myself, and I wouldn't allow myself to see my own worth. And it was just all those tools that were so incredible and so empowering and helped me to transform my inner world and then my outer world. Mm-hmm. I just knew I can't just keep these to myself, right?
You have to share. That's the whole point of life and living and experiencing is our life is not for us. Our story is not for us. Our story, yes. Our life is for others, to help them heal, to help them conquer, to help them see, to help them become.
Yes.
And self-sabotage is something billions and trillions of people do on a daily basis, yes. And they're unaware.
Absolutely.
And they're unaware.
Absolutely. And just to touch on what you were saying really quick, mm-hmm. I think I absolutely agree with you. And, we all have these gifts that, we need to share with the world. Mm-hmm. And every time that we experience adversity or something that feels challenging, like my favorite part about that is that we can then not only overcome it and learn how to thrive, mm-hmm. but then we take those things and they become tools in our toolkit, and mm-hmm. then we can use them to help others that are going through similar situations, right?
Yes.
So it just becomes something powerful. Like,
mm-hmm.
It's a powerful story that is then going to empower somebody else.
Yeah, speaking of empowerment, in order to empower someone else, you first have to start with yourself. And I know you had a couple of tips for the viewers out there who may not know that they are self-sabotaging. So what are some of, at least 5 ways that you could possibly be sabotaging yourself, let's say in a relationship, or sabotaging yourself in your business, or self-sabotaging in your growth, at work? Just what are some of those?
Sure. So first of all, self-sabotage, it's usually when there are things that are important to us, right? When we have a vision, we have goals, we have things in life that we're striving for, or that just, that we really care about. And we are consciously or even semi-consciously preventing ourselves from doing those things or getting those things.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those ways, like what that looks like is like, well, you said relationships, right? In relationships, sometimes, you know, a relationship is going really wonderfully and we're really happy and we're feeling really fulfilled. And then we start to pick fights for no reason, right? Or we start to just like call the other person out or to retreat, right? So then it's like you're pulling away from the person or pushing them away. And, you know, and to the other person, it just seems really out of the blue, right? Well, that's self-sabotage because you're happy in this relationship, you know, and you're feeling really fulfilled, and then you start to push away.
That's one of the things in a romantic relationship. So I had a dream. I've been visualizing and doing things to bring up from my subconscious mind to my forefront mind so I can become aware of what it is that I may do. And in relationships, okay, so in this dream, someone was talking to me very firm, and it wasn't anything negative, but I picked up the keys and I walked out the door, and they were like, where are you going? And I had no words, and I was walking out the door, and they stopped me, you know, from getting in the car, like, hear me out, you know. And then in the dream, I ended up in the garage, you know, in the house, and listening. And then I woke up disappointed in myself, and I was like, that's a habit that I've had that no longer serves me. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can, as I am, you can talk firm, you know, if that's what it takes to get your point across. And no more running from situations, you know, that used to be one of my things, you know, so that's kind of a self-sabotage.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And actually, you know, now that you mentioned that, you were saying relationships and career and everything. Well, in any sense, right, like that, running away, retreating, that's a big form of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then it kind of looks like, exactly, it kind of looks like checking out, right, or like numbing yourself, and lots of different ways, you know, obviously through drugs, through alcohol, but also like Netflix binging, right? Like that's a good one. Or like social media, right? Like when you fall into like the YouTube or the Facebook wormhole, and like, you know, spend hours and hours and hours, and you catch yourself, but then you don't stop yourself from doing that. And then of course there's like things like overeating, right? In general, procrastination is a huge one, and that is one that I will admit, you know, that I was really prone to for a long time. Like I procrastinated like crazy. And
what does procrastination look like? Since you experienced it, what does it look like for you? How do you become self-aware? How did you become self-aware that you procrastinated in finishing your book or your you know, in school? What did you see?
Well, so for me personally, you know, I started really tuning into the sensations in my body and also listening to my intuition. And I started to feel when there was a little bit of a disconnect. And I knew, so when I started putting things off, right, or like I would leave something for the next day, but then I would just keep putting it off.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would come up with excuses. Like I would tell myself like, oh, I don't have time today because I have to do this. Or, you know, I would fall into the busy excuse. It's like, I'm so busy.
You don't want to sit still.
I know. And, you know, and then it started to feel like I felt really disconnected. It started to feel really icky, almost like, you know, well, hold on, what's going on here? And then I realized that I had these visions and I had these goals and these things that I was striving for, and then I wasn't taking action, nor I was half-assing it, which is even worse. And we'll talk a little bit later about why that happens, why we do that. But that actually is, for me, when I really started to feel that disconnect, and I started to feel like, oh, well, what's going on here, right? Like, why does this feel so bad? And I realized, like, you know, I felt, that was another thing. I felt bad about the fact that I wasn't where I wanted to be, right? And then I would fall into these spirals where I would judge myself or think that, you know, I didn't have what it took to get there. And then I realized, like, I wasn't even giving myself a chance, right? Like, I wouldn't even take the action. So of course, if I'm not taking action, I'm not getting there, right? So you know, that's how I got to that.
And so many of our viewers can actually relate to that. making up the excuse that, oh, I'll get to it later, or I'm so busy right now, and you just don't want to be still and allow yourself to finish that project for whatever reason. Like you said, you want to give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to leave a comment down below if you relate to any of these. She named quite a few things like eating or Netflix watching or, some of the other things that she mentioned. If any of those resonate with you, go ahead and leave a comment below. What I was going to ask you is how can they bring this into their awareness? That they are self-sabotaging themselves, not just with procrastination, because I think that's what a lot of people have, procrastination. But there are people who, the binge eating, how can they change that? What can they do to shift that?
So I would say that in order to answer that, we kind of need to look at the reasons why. Like, why do we sabotage ourselves, right? And that's where it comes from. So I would say one of the biggest reasons is this idea of like self-congruence. So where you are trying to make your outside world match your inner world. So if you feel like they're not in alignment, you feel like there's a disconnect, you're going to do everything in your power to shift that outer world to match what you feel inside about yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of the time when people are not aware of their limiting beliefs and all of their patterns, they tend to actually match like, this wonderful outside world to their negative limiting beliefs, rather than changing those beliefs to match the outside world, right?
So as the self-awareness specialist, what I'm hearing you say is that subconsciously they don't believe that they're worth it.
Exactly.
And they have these fears, and so they build up or they create a situation that keeps them from receiving what it is they truly desire. Because subconsciously they don't feel worthy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, you nailed it. So that's it. You have these feelings or these beliefs that you don't deserve love, for example.
Wow.
You don't deserve to have a successful career. You don't deserve abundance. You don't deserve to, whatever it is, to be an author, speaker, whatever you would love to do. There is, you might have that conscious goal of doing that, like, oh, I would really love to do this. And then you have these limiting beliefs that are telling you, yeah, but you don't have what it takes, or you're not worthy of that. You don't deserve
that. So, it's that quiet voice. It's you. It's limiting. It's the doubt. Is the voice of self-doubt, and I rebuke right now the voice of self-doubt. I cast you out. Yes, you are not welcome here. And you have to come into your awareness and actually pay enough attention to yourself to realize that, because these things are in your blind spot.
Yes, absolutely. And as you said, like, a lot of us try to keep ourselves busy in order to not tune in and not hear our voice, not hear those thoughts, right? So that's where a lot of that numbing comes from, like the Netflix binging, right? Like, it's like, oh yeah, I'd rather spend 4 hours on Netflix or Facebook and then, just check out mentally so I don't have to hear my own thoughts. So it's about taking that space for yourself, taking that time to process. Maybe do some journaling, whatever, like, find a creative outlet. Maybe if you like to paint. I always recommend journaling because it's one of the best ways to bring the subconscious to the conscious. And then, when you're actually physically doing it, the physicality of actually using your hand to write, that motion actually allows you to become even more grounded and to enter into your subconscious mind. So you're allowing it to speak. So that, I feel like, is a really powerful way. And asking yourself, I know we've mentioned this before, but asking yourself powerful questions, right? So what are the things that I'm doing that are holding me back?
So that's one of the questions and somebody put that in the comments. What are the things that I'm doing that are holding me back? And journaling, I think, is an incredible thing. You know, I journal myself. And for me, just being here on the planet Earth, I know that I'm here to evolve. I know that I'm here to grow and transcend. And so everything that I do on a daily basis is going to expose myself to who I have been. And that way I can become the person I desire to become. And I can't do that by watching Netflix. I can't do that by listening to music and drinking lots of alcohol and partying and having a whole bunch of sex with random people. I'm just saying. Like, those are a lot of outlets that's self-sabotaging, you know? So journaling was one of them. And what was another way that you could possibly be able to get out of your own way and realize that you are self-sabotaging yourself?
I mean, for me, you know, I always recommend meditation. I think meditation is one of those things that all successful people, if you look it up, like every CEO, every leader, you know, no matter what field they're in, they meditate. And that's because they have found that that really is the best way to tune in to themselves, to connect to source, or whatever that looks like for you, whatever this idea of a higher power is, even if it's just your higher self, whatever calls to you, just to connect on a much deeper level. And it starts off, you know, you don't have to do a huge long thing. If you don't have a meditation practice and you're thinking, I can't sit still for 30 minutes, that's okay. If you just take literally 2 to 5 minutes a day where you sit with your thoughts, and that's all you do. I mean, you know, later you can get into more complex meditation, but at the beginning, you're just being mindful. You're just tuning into your body, tuning into your thoughts, your emotions, your bodily sensations, so that you know next time that, you know, you're being sent a message from your body, from your intuition, your subconscious, you can actually catch it. Right? Because otherwise we're just going to continue to go on autopilot and continue to numb ourselves.
And something I would like to add to that is that there are many forms of meditation. And if you are serious about transforming your life, because now is the time, it's more time now than ever. This is the age of Aquarius. The universe has shifted. The shift is here. And so, and your time is now. You just have to make the decision, and that's the free will that we have. And so there are many different forms of meditation. There's walking meditation. There's, you know, there's talking meditation, where you take the Bible or whatever spiritual book that you read, and you say that scripture over and over and over and over and over and over until it becomes embedded in you. And so that was another way. And you guys take note, one of these ways of coming into the awareness that you are a self-sabotager, or what areas you may be sabotaging yourself in. You may be a developed person. And, you know, there are the smaller areas where you could be procrastinating or sabotaging yourself.
And actually, I want to speak to that, because there might be some of you thinking, but you know, Melissa, how like I've done work on myself. I have uncovered my limiting beliefs. You know, I feel like I don't have those beliefs of you know, unworthiness. Like, I know I deserve happiness, I deserve success, I deserve great things.
Or I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, or you
know. Ego.
Yeah. And what I want to say to that, so, you know, the self-congruence thing is, it's only one, it's a huge one, but it's only one reason that people self-sabotage. And another big one is this idea of like an upper limit, or like a glass ceiling, as it were. So it might be that you're someone, you know that you deserve happiness, you deserve success, you deserve wealth and abundance and all of these wonderful things, and you have placed yourself in a box and you're not aware of it. So you believe like, okay, I deserve all these things, but I only deserve so much. Right. So what happens is, when you reach that upper limit, so it's like you have this belief inside of you that I deserve this much success, or I deserve this much wealth. Or let's say like you even have a number somewhere in your subconscious of like, this is how much money like I deserve to have. And then you reach that amount of money and pay, and see if you notice that this might be a pattern in your life. Like you might have gotten to like, $10,000, and then you found that every time you reach that $10,000, for some reason, you lose it and you can't make any more, and then you keep getting up there but never higher.
Living check to check, month to month, $10,000 a month. Like that's very limited.
And then, it might be in relationships too. It's like, I only deserve this much love. Or I only deserve like this duration of a relationship, or this much happiness in love, or whatever it is, or as far as your career, like this is how much success I deserve. So then you get to that point, you get to that upper limit, and your subconscious is going, okay, no more. Now, nope, you have to go down, bring it down, because you've gotten there and now you can't go past that. And so when you become aware of that, you can actually break that glass ceiling, and allow yourself to receive more. So open yourself up to the possibility that, I've been limiting my success, I've been limiting my happiness because I don't believe that I deserve more than that. So that's a really good one to tune into, because that often comes from a much deeper place. And that might be something that you heard, or you were taught, or you experienced as a kid, right? And then you created that blueprint, and you're not even aware that that's what's happening. So you're getting even more confused because you're like, but I know I deserve all these things, and then I'm still not getting them. And so it's like, okay, well, do you have an upper limit? And if so, what is it? What is your upper limit? And now let's change it.
Because now that you've gotten to the glass ceiling, and what I consider breaking the glass ceiling is to stop the cycle. There's a cycle that you're in, and just like you said, the blueprint. And so in your subconscious mind, the subconscious paradigm is just programming that you may not be aware of, and in order to come into that awareness of yourself, to break the cycle, some of these tasks that Melissa has given you, like the meditation, the journaling, these are things that you have to put your discipline into. You cannot become the person you desire to be, or that you were put on earth to be, without discipline. There's no such thing.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to breaking cycles, you have to come into that awareness that you are in a cycle, first of all.
Absolutely. And I wanted to come back to procrastination for a moment, if that's okay, because I feel like that is a massive one. And, I've talked to so many people who want these incredible things. They have these amazing visions, these incredible goals. They're really driven, ambitious, committed, loving, passionate people. And, and then they also find themselves stuck in those cycles of procrastination.
Right.
And I think it's important for us to look at, like, where does that come from, right? And procrastination is more often than not a fear of failure, right? I think, and we were hearing this as well, that like, a lot of people think it's a fear of success, but really, it's a fear of failure. And the way that plays out in your subconscious is that you think, okay, so if I go all in, right, and I really give it my all, I try really hard, like, I give it my absolute best, my 150%, I commit, I fully commit, I'm disciplined, and I'm really going for it, I'm really pushing, I'm really striving for those goals, and then I fail, that will mean that I'm a failure, right? Because we equate those results with ourselves and our identity. So what happens is that we then decide, we make a subconscious decision that, maybe I'll just half-ass it, because if I don't go all in, and if I only do this much, then if I fail, I can tell myself that it's because I really didn't try that hard.
Or you go halfway in because you don't want other people to see that you are going to fail. But the most successful people in this world, on this planet, fail over and over and over and over. And let me explain to you, failure is, and then we're going to wrap this up, failure is a lesson to be learned. It means that you didn't come here with the experience of everything. You have the knowing within you if you pay enough attention to yourself. But you didn't come here with the experience, and there is someone everywhere in this world that doesn't have experience in some sort of area. And failure for me, I'm falling in love with failure. Because I'll attempt to do something and I'll fail and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I did not think that I would fail, you know? And then when I see it, it's like, okay, how can I do this better? Because the belief, my subconscious belief in myself, and I don't know, well, my parents did instill a little confidence in me, but is that I can do anything. There is nothing in this world that I put my mind to and put my heart into and put my actions into that I do not know I will be a success in it. And not just doing it the first time, you're going to fail because you're learning. You know, the first time you learn how to ride a bike, you fall. If you don't get back on it, guess what? You are a failure. But if you get back on it, you take that as a lesson learned, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's there for, right? It's for information. It's for us to learn, for us to grow, for us to evolve, right? And, you know, there's so many people who say, like, if you're going to fail hard, right?
Yeah.
So it's not
Fail
just
fast.
that little fail hard, fail fast, exactly. So that you can then get back up on that horse, try again, take those lessons, and run with them, right?
Accelerate, baby.
Absolutely.
Yes, that is our time, and thank you guys for tuning in. And we hope that this helped. And Melissa is going to tell you guys where you can find her. She is an exceptional life coach, and she can help you in so many areas. She really is amazing, and it's truly a pleasure to have you on here. It really is. She can also help you with manifestations. We talked about one of her manifestations that came before, you know, even her manifestation date. It's incredible. And so if you wanted to leave them, you know, you guys can DM her, of course, but she also has your email. Where can they find you?
Absolutely. So if you want to contact me personally, you want to email me, my email address is melissa@curiouslyconnected.net. And that is also my website, so www.curiouslyconnected.net. Or you can find my Facebook business page, which is also Curiously Connected. And I would love to connect with you.
Yes, and thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be tagging this on your page. And she also has a business page or a fan page. We'll be tagging them. We'll tag this video on that as well. And stay tuned for our Wednesday. We'll be here every Wednesday, 10 a.m. until further notice. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, and we'll talk with you guys soon. Remember to leave a comment below. Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, just thanks for tuning in, and do ask us questions. If you have any questions or any comments on anything we said and anything you'd like us to elaborate on, we would love to do that for you.
Okay, and what is the name of your page?
Curiously Connected.
Curiously Connected, yes. Okay, you did say that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.